order to grieve his father and punish his father for the sins of Jacob. For the sins of Jacob. And Jacob, together with the mom, Rebekah, conspired in order to steal the blessing that was due to Esau, the first son. So you will see the complexity of this wave of plotting and planning to take what belongs to another and deceive their father in order to get the inheritance that belongs to another. And you look at the world today, you will see the same behavior that has not changed. So, for you as the members of the soldiers, which kind of plotting have you been involved in? Any kind of plotting, lying and deceiving, manipulating situations like the people of the world, as you can see between these two brothers and sisters? I mean, these two twins, these two brothers, with all their other relatives, for they are all related together. They are all descendants of Abraham, including Ishmael is a descendant of Abraham. Esau and Jacob are children of Isaac, who is a direct child of Abraham, and Ishmael is the first child. So I want to take you further in Genesis chapter 33, because we want to take you step by step so that you can understand that even though the world have thrown themselves and had made things more complicated, and you can imagine the thousands of years that this conflict has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Till today, there's been a flaring up one time or another. In the book of Genesis in chapter 33, from verse 4 you hear, then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him. We have read the entire chapter before. When eventually Jacob returned, then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. He lifted his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, who are these with you? So he said, the children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the maids came near with their children, and they bowed down. Leah likewise came near with her children, and they bowed down. And afterward Joseph came near with Rachel, and they bowed down. And he said, what do you mean by all this company which I have met? And he said, to find favor in the sight of my Lord. He called him my Lord, trying to play safe and use a deceptive word. He knew that God, through his father, has already blessed him to be the Lord over Esau. He pretends that Esau is the Lord. So you see, he's still playing the same game and the same deception, like a lot of people in the world that indulge in all manners of sin and never change. They're always doing the same thing, and you must not be like one of them, like Jacob, who himself is a master deceiver. And he said, what do you mean by all this? And he said, to find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have plenty. My brother, let what you have be your own. And Jacob said, no, please. He insists. He was giving him a lot of things. You will see here the same behavior like you see today. He uses his wives and children and servants and put them in front so that they become killed first before they get to him. And Rachel, his preferred wife and children. The rest he put in front. Like you see today, I've heard people talking about they using human child, civilians as child in the war that is going on between the Israel and the Hamas. So you can see the same behavior of putting people in front so that they will use them as human shield. But one thing I want you to take from there is not that, but even though we see this playing, but you will see that forgiveness occurred here. Rather than fight and kill him as he had planned, with time he no longer felt the same way. But God bless him. But don't remember the blessing of the Father says that by the sword he shall live. So sometimes people think that what is happening in the Middle East is just physical. These are spiritual things that has been put forward and has been decreed that will not change. So those that are making policies thinking that they're going to change what has been ordained and has been established in the conspiracy and the alliance of the children of Esau and that of the Ishmaelites and all the other parties joining together, as you saw in the psalm that we read when we prayed Psalm 83, for you can see this has been established and decreed. So when you compare that to the book of Romans chapter 9, and you will hear the word of the Lord talking about the Lord, those that the Lord will show mercy, he will show mercy. Those he will bless, he will bless. Those he will curse, and all these other things. And God himself is a sovereign that have the sovereign of the sovereign. It's not just a sovereign, but the sovereign of all the sovereigns in the world. And therefore can do whatever that he likes, whatever he wills, whatever he chooses, whoever he willed, whoever he chose, whatever he did. God in his sovereign power established that. It cannot change. And I'll take you also further in the book of Genesis chapter 6. And I will try to get out of Genesis and go to other places so that you can see and understand there are things that you can change and there are things you cannot change. And you will have to accept what you cannot change if it is ordained by God, because you cannot twist the hand of God. Neither can you turn his will. For God is sovereign of the sovereigns. Meaning that even where a sovereign decides to exercise their will or their power, the only one that can turn the will of the sovereign and twist his hand